Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for stopping by the channel. So for this video, I want to recap my state of the watch collection for 2024. Now I do want to set some parameters around this video, otherwise it would take like 40 minutes to go through every single watch I own, but this is really going to hone in on timepieces that I picked up this year and that I've worn a significant amount of time to justify having them in the collection. Now you guys know my collection is fairly fluid. I'm not going to feature every watch that I picked up, either because they didn't get enough wrist time, or maybe I've had to flip some just to get more watches in for content on this channel. Alright, so let's kick things off with one of the first timepieces I picked up this year, and that is this Neo Vintage Electric Blue Omega Seamaster. And yes, this is the quartz version of that particular watch. In the past, I've had a mechanical like Peter Blake Seamaster. I just had some issues with it mechanically, and this quartz is a great grab and go timepiece. And I also like the functionality because with the quartz version, it has like a jumping hour or like GMT function, so you can actually jump the hour hand without hacking the movement, and that makes it easy for crossing time zones, or if you want to cycle the date because there's an irregular month. And I'll also say, because it's really thin in profile and has great wrist presence, I've worn the heck out of this watch this year, and I was able to pick it up from a fairly local watch enthusiast who I also consider a friend, so that made it easy as well. Okay, so around Valentine's Day this year, my wife actually picked me up this Zelos Aurora Adventurine Moon Phase. This is the 38mm Aurora, so it's a little bit smaller, but because it is titanium and it has an excellent bracelet with on-the-fly adjustment, I really enjoy wearing this watch. You even forget you're wearing it at times. And I mentioned in passing to her that I never owned a watch that had a moon phase. Kind of a romantic, but not super functional complication. So she picked up on that and was very thoughtful in buying me this moon phase Adventurine watch. And I really like how the moon phase is well loomed, just like pretty much any Zelos watch. And the Adventurine dial also just adds to that Starry Night complication. So it's a great package. It's not going anywhere soon because, of course, it was a gift from my wife. Alright, so a little later in the year, I picked up this Archimedes 42mm pilot watch. And you guys know I got low for IWC, but I don't really appreciate the price point around their Mark 18 or Mark 20 as much. Those watches I find a bit small at 40mm, and also those watches have kind of small crowns in my opinion. It's a subtle thing, but I feel like this Archimedes has probably one of the best crowns on any pilot watch, which makes it a joy to wind. And another cool thing about Archimedes, I mean, they're out of Pforzheim, Germany. There is some great watchmaking that happens in that region. And this is kind of like one of their older pieces they don't really make. But I did contact them and they were like, yeah, we can manufacture this watch for you, because they even have this kind of like shifted date wheel between the 4 and 5 o'clock position. That's not that common. I don't really mind it. And overall, I just think it's an excellent pilot watch for the price point, coming in around 1,000 euros. Now, if you guys have been following my channel, you know that this Grand Seiko SBGN 003 is one of my favorite models from this particular manufacturer. And you're probably wondering, why are you showing this watch in 2024? Haven't you had it for like years? Well, in a moment of weakness a few years back, I actually sold mine, but one of my favorite Grand Seiko authorized dealers was able to get in one as like new old stock, I suppose, because it is discontinued. So it's a rebuy for me. It's one of the only Grand Seikos I've ever repurchased. And guys, kick me if I ever decide to sell this one again. It's just such a great GMT, great proportions at 39mm, and super accurate as well. So hopefully this is a permanent keeper in my collection now, the SBGN 003, one of my favorites from Grand Seiko. Alright, everyone needs a Speedy in their collection, right? And I have owned a few. This is the current Omega Speedmaster Hesselite, the 3861 coaxial movement. that's also Metis certified. And in terms of chronographs, it's the only chronograph in my collection. Such an iconic piece. And for me, I really do like the Heslite over the Sapphire Sandwich now. Anecdotally, I thought the Sapphire Sandwich was a bit heavier on the wrist. And I just really like the crystal on this Heslite version. It's one of the most iconic Omegas, so I'm definitely happy to be retaining a Speedy in my current collection. So you guys might not believe it, but until 2024, I've never owned a Seiko SKX. And it's another one of those neo-vintage divers that is so iconic. And for me, when I started out watch collecting, I cut my teeth on like the Seiko Turtles and Samurais and Sumos of the time. I kind of bypassed this SKX because I didn't really like that 7S movement with the non-hacking, non-hand-winding function. But I just really love the proportions and dial layout for this watch. Even with the original movement, I still think it's an excellent watch, very legible, and it's such an icon again. So I finally did pick up a used SKX 007 that was recently serviced by another watch enthusiast. So hopefully this one stays in my collection for a while. Definitely a strap monster as well. So I'm going to have fun with this in the new year. Okay, so from moving from Seiko to Grand Seiko, we got to talk about their Atira Valley. This is the SLGA 025. It is their Evo 9 case in high-intensity titanium, and it has one of the best dials that they released in 2024, in my humble opinion. So I have gone through a fair number of iterations of the Grand Seiko with the Evolution 9 case and high beat or spring drive. This has their 5-day spring drive, so it's actually one of the most accurate watches in my collection with a 5-day power reserve. And personally, I just think that this is an absolute home run. I wear this watch a ton as soon as I picked it up in the fall, and it even accompanied me to the Toronto Timepiece Show. Now, speaking of the Toronto Timepiece Show that was held at the end of October of this year, one of the headliners was Marathon. So they are a Canadian-based watch brand that makes military pieces, but of course their watches are manufactured in Switzerland. And I've appreciated their watches in the past, but never really owned too many. And then I caught the bug after attending a few of their seminars at the Timepiece Show, and I had to pick up the Arctic White Maple, and it's their government search and rescue. So it's a GSAR. It's got the tritium tubes instead of normal lume. Really like the maple leaf right below the 12 o'clock position. And these watches are absolute tags. And I've really caught the Marathon bug as of late. So a few purchases closer to Christmas have been Marathon watches, which I hope to review, including this guy, in the near future. All right, up next, we got a Tudor Black Bay 41 in burgundy. And this is their latest version that has the Metis certified movement. And I gotta say, Tudor has been killing it this year. They've done a lot more than Rolex, in my humble opinion. And releases like this in the Black Bay 41 with the burgundy dial or like the monochrome, I really think are getting people back into their classic 41mm sizing as opposed to like a Black Bay 58 or 54. And I'm happy to see that as someone with a bigger 7.5-inch wrist. If you're just looking for a one-watch collection for 2024, getting a Tudor Black Bay 41 is a really good value proposition and hard to beat. All right, and finally, let's talk about the watch on my wrist. This is a watch that I've been eyeing since it was released the past year, and that is the Hamilton Khaki Expedition. This is their blue dial version, which sadly didn't come on a bracelet, but is an absolute strap monster. Now, of course, you can get it in 41 or I think 37 millimeters. This is the 41 millimeter size. And it's been a great daily for me. I was able to pick this up at my local authorized dealer during one of their Christmas holiday events. And very impressed by this watch. I hope to review it in the near future. It's extremely comfortable on the wrist and very legible. So that rounds out like my top 10 watches for 2024. Feel free to roast it in the comment section. I do hope everyone stays safe and has an enjoyable holiday season. I do hope to continue the trajectory of this channel in the new year, although I'm also expecting a new daughter at the end of this year as well. So that's probably going to impact my output just a little bit. But thanks for watching to the end. If you do like these videos, please consider subscribing to my channel. It really does help me out. And as always, I can't wait to catch you guys in the next one.